Officials in India have removed hundreds of tons of toxic waste from a chemical factory in Bhopal, which was the scene of one of the world's deadliest gas leaks 40 years ago. Thousands of people died after poisonous fumes leaked from the Union Carbide factory in 1984. The site was closed, but toxic material had remained there, with claims it was polluting groundwater in nearby areas. It could still take months before the waste is finally treated and destroyed. Let's go to Delhi and join my colleague Arunadhay Mukherjee. Just remind us of the horrors of this gas leak 40 years ago, Arunadhay.
Well, in fact, just last month, they marked the 40-year anniversary of that deadly tragedy, often referred to as one of the world's worst industrial disasters, because in the first few days of the tragedy, it left over 3,500 dead. And over the course of the next several years, around 15,000 more were presumed dead because of certain health complications. But those are government figures. Activists point out that these figures, the real figures, could be much higher. And the after effects, because of the kind of contamination that the groundwater and the environment suffered, are still seen in a lot of families and down generations. That's why this is still very much a very ongoing issue, with activists continuing to raise their voices, which is why you saw a court in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, where Bhopal city is located, actually point out and say, why haven't officials done anything about the waste that is still sitting there? The court referred to the authorities calling this just an act of inertia, saying that were authorities simply waiting for another tragedy to happen? And that's when they set a 4-week deadline, which is why last evening you saw these convoy of 12 trucks. I'm not sure if you were able to see those visuals, but a convoy of 12 trucks, essentially with those big containers packed with toxic waste, being moved to a location about 200 kilometers away from the site where the tragedy had actually happened. In fact, one of the officials who was overseeing the entire operation said that India had never witnessed a movement of toxic material of this scale ever. What's now going to happen is in the next 3 to 9 months, they're going to incinerate this bit by bit to understand what kind of environmental impact it might have, because there have been concerns that just the act of destroying this could also lead to environmental challenges.
Yeah, I mean, and it cannot be an easy task, can it, getting rid of something that is so dangerous?
Absolutely. So what they're doing is they've earmarked a location 200 kilometers away from the location where the toxic waste was actually taken out from. What they're going to do is, in the initial period, they're going to just burn a bit of the toxic waste to assess what kind of damage this may have, because activists have said that the groundwater in these areas could also be contaminated as a result of incinerating this toxic waste. But the government has pointed out that they are keeping all safety measures into account. In fact, they've said that the smoke that will be released into the sky is going to go through a 4-tier filtration process. They've also said that the kind of waste that is going to be generated will be buried in the ground with various safeguards, is how they are describing it. But activists are not convinced. This is still very much an ongoing issue. As I said, there are court hearings that are expected to be taking up all these issues to understand how exactly this entire process is going to be carried out. But the state government and authorities say there is nothing to worry about. This is going to be a process which will follow all sorts of environmental safeguards.
Arunadhay, thank you very much. Arunadhay Mukherjee in Delhi.